Hi everyone, Audrey Starkey here from The Healthy Shift Worker. Today I just wanted to jump on and have a little bit of a discussion around a topic that I've just been looking into of late, and that's the health and well-being of nurses. So I've been running through a few different studies. Now, you might be a nurse, great. If not, don't worry. You might be a paramedic or a police officer or some other shift worker. I'm sure that you'll find some benefit from some of the insights that I do share. But there was one study in particular that was published in the BMC Nursing Journal. So I'm actually going to be referring to it and reading snippets of it. This was dated in 2015 though, so it is a few years ago, but it's still quite interesting, some of the things that were highlighted. Now, it was based on a study of nurses that worked in a hospital in Sydney, or two hospitals actually, across Sydney, which 93% were shift workers, which is certainly not surprising, given the field of nursing. Now, interestingly enough though, between those two hospitals that were made up of registered nurses and enrolled nurses, out of the, I think, close to 1,500 that worked across those two hospitals, for this study, there were only 380 that in the end participated, which is interesting. Again, that's just something to ponder. From a health and wellbeing study, I think it would be ideal to kind of get the majority on board. But again, we're not too sure of the reasons behind that. Now, what they did in this study is that they looked at various different, health parameters, which included diet and lifestyle factors, including tobacco smoking, alcohol intake, physical activity, consumption of fruit and vegetables, and also looked at certain biomarkers such as blood pressure, blood glucose levels, weight, height, and weight circumference. So they really looked at ways to get a good assessment of the nurse's health. Parts of it, though, were this was a self-reported study. So, that alone can lend itself for a little bit of bias. So we need to take that into consideration, that it is a smaller study, and it is self-reported. And, sometimes when it comes to these types of things, we're not always quite so honest about, some of the questions that we might get asked in this, this area, particularly diet and lifestyle. But again, just something to keep in the back of our mind. Now, again, I'm going to be reading snippets from this. So the nursing workforce faces the same issues in the population as it served. So the aim of this study was actually to, indicate or identify nurses' overall health and well-being and the presence of chronic disease, and how that compared to the general population within New South Wales, so the whole state of New South Wales. So they were looking at as a comparison. Now, the thing is, and they did point this out, that nurses, technically have the advantages that should support their participation in health behaviours, including the being well educated and having a high health literacy and the economic advantages of employment. So when we think about that, because they are healthcare professionals, one would think that they should be great examples, as health professionals on their own, given that they are going to be helping patients or us as the general public. We want them to be healthy as well, and of course that's going to be able to make them do their job so much better if they themselves are feeling healthy. So nurses' health is a crucial consideration for their retention in the workforce. Longer serving nurses particularly are needed in the workforce for their experience and expertise, which is vital for the support to help, the less experienced nurses. So, retention is something that is needed, particularly when, new nurses are coming through. So we really want to be able to, support somebody that, for their, if they're wanting to stay within the career for, for quite a while, that career longevity. So now just to sort of reflect on some of the results that came up of this study, out of that sort of 380, I think it was, they said 129, so 44% were classified as overweight or obese. So that's pretty profound. I'll just say that again. So 129, which equated to 44%, were classified as either overweight or obese. Increased cardiovascular risk was also identified due to the representation of central distribution of adiposity, and that was present in close to 57% of females and almost 20% of male nurses. Another thing that was highlighted is that from a nutritional perspective, less than 1 in 5 nurses had a fruit intake that met the guidelines for health. So in Australia, the dietary guidelines for fruit is to have 2 pieces of fruit a day, and for vegetables, 5 servings of vegetables per day. So for fruit, in this particular cohort, there was only 18% that actually met that recommendation. But then it gets even worse because even fewer that didn't meet the vegetable intake of 5 or more serves of vegetables per day, which ended up being less than 10%, 9%. Now this is profound, given plant-based foods, those fruits and vegetables are absolutely paramount for our health and well-being, and undeniably help in the prevention of so many chronic health conditions because of the essential dietary fiber, the antioxidants, the polyphenols, the phytochemicals, so many trace minerals, all in these plant-based foods. And so if we're knowing straight away here, that the nursing population are not getting anywhere near the recommendations of fruits and vegetables, there's something that we really do need to be looking at to nourish our nurses. So in summary, the findings revealed that these nurses generally self-rated their health. So despite all of those things that I've just spoken about, they generally self-rated their health as good, very good, and higher comparable to the general New South Wales population. And this was, however, these were there were indicators that they were certainly facing important health issues, with more than 40% reporting at least one chronic health condition. And few from chronic ill health. So I want to say that again, and just to reaffirm my point, is that despite those things that I spoke about in regards to being overweight and obese, 40 odd percent, 44%, they indicated 94% indicated that their health was good, very good, or in excellent health. So based on that, there is a little bit of, I guess, disconnect, or maybe dissonance, or just not acknowledging their true health and well-being, because even though the statistics don't lie, generally speaking. So just again, this is just something to reflect on, based on these sorts of results that came from this study. And one thing that I just wanted to mention, just to wrap things up, is that they said health behaviours are not solely an individual responsibility. Policymakers and managers in nursing and healthcare need to play their part in making the workplace a positive environment for healthy working, supportive of nurses in health promotion, and enabling them to be the role model or to be role models on what they teach. Absolutely, without a doubt, the workplace certainly has a duty of care to be able to support their nursing population, to have the policy set in place, the tools set in place so that they can be the healthiest version of themselves. I do believe, though, that our health really does come back to being 100% responsibility. However, the workplace certainly has this duty of care to be able to set them up so that they, it's about setting ourselves up, for success. Otherwise, it's a little bit like, from a nursing public health perspective, it's a little bit like, a personal trainer is also a health professional. So we wouldn't really be going to a personal trainer that is not healthy, they're overweight and experiencing chronic health conditions on their own. There is that little bit of a disconnect. So we want to make sure that, our health professionals, like nurses, or paramedics, or whatever your profession is, especially if you're in that healthcare profession, to be able to support you, to be the healthiest version that you possibly can. So now I want to talk about 3 solutions, just things to ponder, because I'm all about presenting solutions. So number 1 is, wherever you are, whatever it is that you do, is to give yourself an honest rating of your health and well-being. And this might require you to go and seek a health professional on your own to get tests underway or get all the biomarkers done and so forth, so that you've got an awareness, the foundation to start with, to acknowledge where your health is, and not sort of having this dissonance, or it's there but I don't want to acknowledge it, type of thing. We can't fix what we aren't aware of, or what we aren't going to ignore. The second thing is to seek out someone within your workplace that is healthy. Find out. I'm sure that that you will be working with someone or a couple of people that seem to have mastered the healthy shift worker strategy, as best as they possibly can. I'm not saying that it's easy, but our greatest teachers can actually be around us. So maybe see what your what some of your workmates are doing, what they're eating, what they're doing outside of work, what it is that they are doing to help keep their own health the best as it possibly can be. And lastly is to be really open-minded when it comes to your health, and not having this, myopic tunnel vision approach when it comes to your health, because there's no one magic pill. It's all about a collection of things, looking at your health from a holistic perspective, looking at lifestyle factors, and that is sustainable. It's not what we do, occasionally that is going to, bring us the health outcomes that we're wanting. It's what we do on a consistent basis, long term. So, really consider thinking outside the square, a little bit more. Other modalities, things like, energy medicine, chiropractic, cognitive behavioral therapy. Maybe it's trying something different, like a green smoothie. Just something as different as that. It's all about having that open mind, because the results are really in how somebody looks and how somebody feels. If they seem to have a lot of energy and they're thriving, then maybe that particular modality is certainly something that you can look into. There was a podcast even that I did a while back. I think it's that I've written down here. It's Healthy Shift Worker podcast number 87, where I spoke to Dr. Peter Stapleton, who is a psychologist, and we spoke on tapping. the tapping for food cravings, stress, and insomnia. And that's that really opened my eyes to a different way to approach our health and well-being as well. So there's a lot of different things that we can look at. So I hope that discussion was a little bit insightful for you, just gave you a few things to sort of ponder. If you're wanting to learn a little bit more about what I do, feel free to jump over to my website, which is healthyshiftworker.com. I've also have my book that I've published, which is available online through most book retailers worldwide, which is Too Tired to Cook: The Shift Worker's Guide to Working and Surviving in the 24/7 World. All right, I look forward to seeing you next time.